here's the area that I'm going to landscape today. It's a finite area, and again, I'm going to landscape it with California native plants. Plants that would grow naturally in our local mountains and valleys. So I've cleared the area of what was here before. They were also natives, but they were starting to get a little bit too woody, and I didn't like the way they looked. They couldn't really be contained, and I thought I would just remove them and kind of start over again. Of course, I'm leaving this beautiful Baja sage behind me. Very fragrant. So I've cleared the area of what was here before. I'm going to kind of aerate the ground a little bit. When you see me in these clothes, you know I'm really doing some heavy work. These are my outdoor grubby clothes. You can see I've got some rocks buried in here. I use these rocks that I gather from my jaunts into the mountains for landscaping. So this is the area that I plan to landscape, and I've got a couple of great plants that I'm going to put in the ground right here. Here's my plants. I bought them in a recent native plant sale at the Rancho Santa Ana Botanic Garden. I've kind of plotted my garden in this finite space. Sometimes it's easier to take a small space than imagine your entire yard. I have a penstemon, which I know will go good in that corner there. It can take a little shade. These are some low-growing manzanitas. They're called Rosy Dawn. They're a hybridized manzanita that will make a nice ground cover. And these sorry little plants are called Camasonia. It's a kind of a beach primrose. You can see I let this one sit too long without water, but my guess is that the roots are still viable, so I'm going to put them in the ground after we get some rain, maybe cut back the foliage a little bit and see if they'll begin to grow. So that's where my penstemon will go. I will let the water drain, and then when it's drained, I will put this plant in the ground there. As always, I like to separate the root ball a little bit because sometimes they're just a little bit too constricted in these plant pots. Then of course it's time to mulch. This mulch is free. You can get it at various city sites. For instance, Griffith Park behind the golf course. It's primarily chipped eucalyptus. I can tell by the scent. The nice thing about eucalyptus mulch, it helps to suppress weed growth. These little silvery things that I added into the mix are Dudleyas. They grow elsewhere in my yard. I tend to kind of just break them up when they get too leggy and transplant them elsewhere, even though it has no roots on it. Typically, once they're in the earth and it rains, they will start to grow. Here's this little spot of my yard that I landscaped last fall. Remember, it was so overgrown with those woody, kind of beleaguered looking natives. Well, this is what it looks like in late spring. Look at this penstemon in bloom and this little sticky monkey flower. I love it. So again, just an example of what you can do in your native garden with a little tiny bit of effort.